Most men spend their lives chasing women, believing it's the only way to win them. Machiavelli would call them fools who hand over their power. A real man does not chase. He builds such a presence that she is pulled in without knowing why. He doesn't fight for her approval, he makes her fight for his. And when she finally begins to chase, she thinks it was her idea, not realizing he planned it all from the start. The trap of chasing. Most men grow up believing a dangerous lie, that the way to win a woman's heart is to give her more time, more attention, more affection. They think, if I keep showing her love, she'll finally see how good I am. So they send her constant messages, waiting anxiously for her replies like a child waiting for candy. They shower her with compliments, thinking endless praise will make her feel something deeper for them. They rearrange their schedule, cancel plans, and even give up personal goals just to be available whenever she wants. But history, human nature, and even the wisdom of thinkers like Machiavelli tell us the opposite. This is not love, it is surrender. When you chase a woman like this, you hand her all the power without her lifting a finger. You place her on a throne she did not earn, and you kneel before it as if you are lucky to be there. At first, she might enjoy the attention. It feels good to be admired. But deep inside, something changes. A queen who is crowned without effort does not value the crown, and she loses respect for the man who gave it so easily. Why? Because desire is not born from comfort. It grows from challenge. Human nature values what must be earned. When something comes too easily, it loses its magic. If you give her everything before she gives anything back, you remove the tension, the excitement, the mystery. You take away her chance to wonder, does he truly want me, or does he have options? Without that question, her interest fades. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The struggle to reach the top is what makes the view so satisfying. If someone carries you to the peak, you don't feel proud. You feel nothing. In the same way, if you become the servant who carries her to the top, she will never see you as the mountain worth climbing. Here's the truth. If you want her respect and desire, you must stop chasing. You must become a man whose presence is earned, not handed out like free samples. You must be the challenge that excites her, the mystery she wants to solve, the prize she feels lucky to win. The mountain never runs after the climber. And yet, the climber returns again and again, because reaching the top is worth the effort. Mystery is your greatest weapon. People are naturally curious. We are drawn to what we don't fully understand. The unknown has a strange pull. It sparks our imagination, stirs emotions we can't explain, and stays in our mind long after we've walked away. Think about it. When something becomes too familiar and predictable, it starts to lose its magic. The excitement fades, the surprise disappears. What was once special starts to feel ordinary. If a woman can guess every word you'll say, every move you'll make, and every thought you'll have, her interest will slowly fade. If you want to keep her attention, you must remain a mystery, a puzzle she can't fully solve. But here's the important truth. Mystery isn't about lying, pretending, or playing childish games. That's fake, and it will eventually destroy trust. True mystery comes from living a life so full, so deep, and so independent that no one, not even the person closest to you, can know all of it. A mysterious man walks his own path. He has goals and dreams that belong only to him. He has a private world no one can completely step into. He doesn't feel the need to explain every choice, share every plan, or report every detail of his life. This doesn't make him cold, it makes him magnetic. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully figure out, and they stay hooked when they sense there's always more to discover. The key is simple. You don't act mysterious, you become mysterious by building a real life worth wondering about. Fill your days with things that excite you. Take on challenges that make you grow. Collect experiences that make your life richer. Read books that change the way you think. Travel to places that give you stories no one else can tell. Work on skills that surprise people when they find out. Don't announce every plan you make. Don't explain every absence. Let her wonder where you've been, what you've been doing, and who you've been with. That quiet uncertainty will pull her toward you more than constant messages, sweet compliments, or expensive gifts ever could. Because here's the truth: when there's nothing left to discover, there's nothing left to chase. But when there's always one more layer, one more unanswered question, one more part of you she hasn't reached, her mind will keep returning to you. And in that space of curiosity, attraction doesn't fade, it grows. Slowly, fascination turns into desire. And if you master the art of mystery, desire can turn into obsession. Never compete for her attention. The moment you start competing for a woman's attention, you step out of your position of strength. You might not notice it right away, but deep down, you've put her above you in value. You've made her the prize and yourself the one chasing. And once that dynamic is set, it's very hard to reverse. Many men fall into this trap without realizing it. They see her talking to other men, getting attention on social media, or acting distant. Their natural reaction is to panic. They start texting her more, calling her more, planning bigger gestures, or trying harder to impress her. But all this effort sends an unspoken message. You are more important than me. Your approval matters more than my own self-respect. And that silent message is deadly to attraction. A man of value never begs for someone's attention. He doesn't try to outcompete other men for her focus. He doesn't dance for validation or put on a show. Instead, his value speaks for itself, through the way he lives, the way he moves, and the way he carries himself. This is not arrogance, it's self-respect. A man who knows his worth doesn't try to prove it to others. He knows that his presence is already valuable, and if someone can't see that, he is willing to walk away without hesitation. When you have purpose, you naturally draw attention. When you are confident in your path, people feel it. You stand out without trying. The right people, including women, will be drawn to that kind of energy. She should feel, in the back of her mind, that she has to earn your attention, your time, and your presence. She should be asking herself, am I doing enough to keep his interest? This shift in perspective changes everything. When a woman feels that she could lose something rare, she begins to value it much more. But if you make yourself too available, too eager, or too accommodating, you lower your value in her eyes, no matter how good you are. You must position yourself as the prize, the man with options, ambition, and a life that is full and exciting even without her in it. She should know that if she doesn't respect your place in her life, you can walk away without hesitation. When you become the man who chooses rather than the man who waits to be chosen, you hold all the power. And the man who holds the power never needs to compete, because he knows that in the right woman's eyes, he's already won. Where is not given, it's taken. Respect is not something people hand out like a gift. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, here, take my respect, take my loyalty for free. Life doesn't work that way. Respect has to be claimed, it has to be taken, just like a king takes ownership of his land. And the moment you sit and wait for someone, especially a woman, to choose you, you've already stepped down from your position of strength. You've silently agreed to play the role of the follower, not the leader. Machiavelli would say that power always belongs to the man who acts first. The one who decides the rules will always have an advantage over the one who only reacts to them. If you wait for permission, for approval, or for someone to give you a chance, you will keep waiting forever. And when you finally try to move, the position you wanted will already belong to someone else. A man of true power does not bend himself just to fit into her world. He doesn't twist his values or change his personality just to match what she says she wants. He doesn't become a copy of her dream man just to be accepted. Instead, he builds his own world, a life with purpose, with vision, with direction. His energy pulls people in naturally. She feels drawn into his world because it is strong, structured, and exciting. He is the architect of his own reality. He is not a guest, politely asking for a seat at someone else's table. He sets the frame. He decides the pace. He chooses the terms. This is not about being controlling or cruel. It's about leading your life according to your own standards and never letting someone else's expectations become your master. And here's the truth most men avoid. If she refuses to step into your world, you do not stop your mission to convince her. You do not slow down so she can catch up. You do not lower your pace to match her doubts. You keep moving forward, calm, confident, and certain in your path. Her hesitation is her loss, not yours. Power is not something you ask for. It's not something anyone gives you out of kindness. Power is claimed through your presence, through the way you stand, the way you speak, the way you move. When a woman meets a man like that, she instantly knows she is in the presence of someone she cannot control. Someone who will never beg. Someone who will never kneel, because he was born to stand. Emotional disruption creates attachment. Feeling safe in a relationship is a good thing. Safety feels warm, peaceful, and comforting. But when it comes to attraction, too much comfort can slowly drain the spark. Why? Because attraction doesn't grow in a place where everything is predictable. Real desire comes alive in moments of tension, excitement, and curiosity. It's when she secretly wonders, what's going to happen next? That her feelings stay strong. When a man becomes too predictable, he slowly fades into the background of a woman's mind. She knows exactly when you'll text, exactly what you'll say, and exactly how you'll react. In the beginning, this might feel nice to her. It gives stability. But after some time, stability without excitement turns into routine. And routine is dangerous because it makes passion disappear. The men who stay on a woman's mind are the ones who create emotional variety. They make her laugh, surprise her, challenge her, and sometimes leave her guessing. This doesn't mean being mean or playing cruel games. It means breaking the pattern in small ways so her emotions stay awake. If she's used to you replying instantly, take your time once in a while. If you're usually playful, be calm and serious sometimes. Take a day to focus on yourself without explaining every detail. Let her feel your strong presence and then give her the chance to miss you. This is not manipulation. This is the natural rhythm of a man who has his own life, goals, and priorities. You are showing her that you're not orbiting around her, you're moving forward on your own path. And that independence makes you more attractive because she sees you as a man who doesn't need her approval to feel complete. The emotional difference between having you close and missing you creates depth in the connection. She starts to value your time more because she knows it's not always available. She cares less about just your words and more about the way you make her feel. Here's the truth. Comfort alone cannot create deep desire. Desire needs contrast. It's the thrill of unpredictability, the subtle tension, and the occasional disruption that keep her attached. When her emotions rise and fall because of you, she bonds with you on a much deeper level. And it's that bond, not endless comfort, that makes her fight to keep you close. Don't demand respect. Command it through absence. Real power with a woman is not always built when you are standing in front of her. It is often built when you are not there. Your presence can impress her for a moment, but your absence can stay in her mind much longer. When you are gone, you create an empty space. And the human mind hates empty space. It quickly fills it with thoughts, memories, and questions. When she feels the silence you leave behind, when she notices the missing energy you once brought into the room, her mind begins to turn against her. She replays past conversations, searching for hidden meanings. She wonders why you are not there and what you might be doing. This quiet uncertainty is powerful. It makes her think of you even when you've said nothing. Absence creates tension. It plants a seed of fear, the fear of losing something rare. Because when a woman meets a man who truly has value, the idea of losing him feels heavier than the idea of missing anyone else. She knows she cannot replace him easily. A man who can walk away at any moment without pleading, without apologizing, holds the greatest power. This power is not about arrogance, it comes from self-respect and emotional independence. You are not tied to her approval, and that makes you impossible to control. When you are always available, you risk becoming ordinary. Too much of anything becomes normal and easy to take for granted. But when you are gone for a while, she feels your absence. She begins to value your presence more. When you return, it feels like something special, a moment worth noticing. Respect is never truly given to a man who asks for it. If you have to demand respect, you are already admitting you don't have it. Begging for it or chasing her approval tells her one dangerous thing: her opinion matters more to you than your own dignity. Real respect is built on boundaries, the lines you quietly set and never allow anyone to cross. These are not rules you shout about, but standards you live by every day. The strongest sign of self-respect is your ability to walk away when your dignity is at risk. A man who values himself does not need to prove his worth. His value is shown through his actions, through the way he moves in life. When a woman sees that you cannot be bought with attention, gifts, or flattery, that her approval is not your lifeline, she begins to respect you in a way that goes beyond attraction. This kind of respect lasts longer than good looks or charm. It is built on who you are, not what you do for her. She knows you would rather stand alone than kneel for acceptance. And that kind of man is the one she fears losing the most. The power of emotional contrast in attraction. Feeling safe in a relationship is valuable. It brings warmth, peace, and trust. But here's the secret. Most men overlook. Comfort without contrast slowly erodes desire. Desire doesn't thrive in a world where everything is expected. It comes alive in moments of tension, excitement, and curiosity, when she's wondering, what's going to happen next? When a man becomes fully predictable, he fades into the background of her life. At first, she enjoys the stability, knowing exactly when you'll text, what you'll say, and how you'll react. But over time, stability without excitement becomes routine. And routine, no matter how safe, is the enemy of passion. The men who remain unforgettable aren't always the ones who give her everything she asks for. They are the ones who stir her emotions, making her laugh, surprising her, challenging her thinking. They break patterns just enough to keep her feelings alive. This doesn't mean being cruel or manipulative. It means keeping the connection fresh through moments she can't predict. Sometimes, take a day for yourself without giving every detail. If she's used to instant replies, let your response come later, now and then. If you're warm and playful today, be calm and focused tomorrow. Let her feel your presence, and then let her feel your absence. You're not showing indifference, you're showing independence. You have your own goals, your own life, your own path, and that's magnetic. It makes her want to move closer because she sees you're a man whose world doesn't orbit hers. The contrast between closeness and absence creates emotional depth. She values your attention more when it isn't endless. She listens less to your words and more to how you make her feel. Here's the truth. Emotions rise and fall in waves, and those waves create attachment. Comfort alone will never spark burning desire. It's the thrill of unpredictability, the mystery, and the subtle disruptions that make her afraid to lose you and unable to forget you. Play the long game. The most powerful kind of attraction is never about winning fast. A quick victory is like a spark. It flashes bright, it feels exciting, but it soon fades into cold ash. True influence is like a slow fire. It begins quietly, almost unseen, then grows warmer, deeper, and stronger until it becomes impossible to put out. The long game is not about rushing or forcing things. It is about patience, precision, and gentle control. You slowly weave yourself into her thoughts in such a natural way that she doesn't even realize it's happening. You do this with the things you say, the silences you keep, and the small mysteries you leave unsolved. Each meeting, each conversation, each shared moment leaves a small mark on her. Over time, these marks connect and form a lasting presence in her mind, one that remains even when you are far away. When you play the long game, you are not chasing her like a desperate man begging to be noticed. Instead, you create a place for yourself inside her inner world. She begins to think of you at unexpected times, while walking alone through the streets, lying in bed in the quiet of the night, or staring out a window with her thoughts drifting. You appear in her mind without warning, without effort. Sometimes, in her moments of reflection, she hears your voice saying something you once told her. Other times, it's a short phrase you spoke, something she didn't fully understand in the moment, that returns to her and makes her stop to think. Then there are those moments when she suddenly misses you for no clear reason at all. These are the signs you have gone beyond her surface thoughts and entered the deeper part of her mind. Your aim is not to hold her attention for just one evening. Your aim is to make your absence heavier than your presence. When she starts to notice the silence you leave behind and begins to crave your company to fill that space, that is when you have truly won. This influence does not come from pressure or from always being around her. It comes from being deliberate, from knowing exactly when to step forward and when to step back. It comes from creating just enough distance for her to lean toward you. The art of the long game is to become unforgettable, not because you overwhelm her with constant attention, but because you move with patience, quiet confidence, and certainty. You sink so deeply into her mind that she doesn't realize how far you've gone until it's too late. You don't force your way into her heart, you let her open the door herself, all the while believing it was her own choice. And that is how a slow burn becomes something eternal.